Today we are going to discuss Legal Aid Services Corporation. The topics that we will discuss are 2 journal articles exploring legal aid via the internet and legal aid services via the telephone. Additionally, we will explore the National Association of Social Workers Code of Ethics and how the policies outlined in the 2 journal articles align or misalign with those code of ethics. And additionally, I will provide a conclusion of my findings from these 2 articles. First, let's discuss legal aid via the internet. In an article written by Dana D. Dyson and Catherine Schellenberg, published in the Journal of Poverty, the authors address the difficulty that many poor and low-income Americans face accessing legal aid services and using internet services provided by the Legal Services Corporation. Legal aid is not accessible to all Americans in need. There aren't nearly enough legal aid attorneys to represent impoverished Americans, with a ratio of 1 attorney to 8,000 poor or low-income Americans. Of those that are able to access legal aid, more than half are turned away. Furthermore, many aren't even aware such services exist. Additionally, the internet is not universally accessible. For those that can access legal aid services online, ethical and regulatory concerns arise where users may misconstrue online information. This poses a risk to the legal services that are provided via the internet. Not being able to read and understand the legal information that's provided is an issue of education and literacy. Those that tend to have lower literacy levels not only wouldn't be able to understand the information they're provided, but they also are likely to not use those services at all. It was found that reading levels required to understand legalese of this content exceeded actual reading abilities by 2 to 5 years. According to this article, the average American adult reads at an 8th grade level, but in comparison, Medicaid enrollees who align more with those who would require legal aid services read at the 5th grade level. This discrepancy is thought to be overlooked because individuals with lower reading levels are ashamed and attempt to hide this deficiency. Those who face barriers that require these services who cannot understand the written material are more likely at risk to misunderstand the information that's provided. In an analysis of websites intended to assist those requiring legal aid, 4 common warnings to the user were discovered. 1, the content doesn't constitute legal advice. 2, the content is not a substitute for services of an attorney. 3, the provider of data doesn't warrant the accuracy of the information provided. And 4, the provider is not liable for harm or damages that may be incurred because of using the information provided. A great deal of these websites fall short of the very first principle of readability and that users can't find the information they need. The study for this article showed that some disclaimers and general information was very difficult to find. In other cases, some information was simply found by chance. There was a significant overload of data as well, long text, clutter of links or graphics, making navigation very overwhelming. It's the opinion of the authors that in order to correct these issues, 1, policymakers should encourage the Legal Services Corporation to adopt reform measures, making legal aid and legal aid internet services more accessible to those in need. And 2, increasing the funding necessary to redesign websites and provide assessments and training. Next, let's discuss legal aid via the telephone. This program had significantly more success than legal aid via the internet. The article analyzed was written by Nigel J. Balmer, Marisol Smith, Katrina Denver, and Ash Patel. It was published in the Journal of Social Welfare and Family Law. This article addressed the concerns around whether access to legal aid via the telephone is as efficient and effective to services being provided in a face-to-face format. The authors were of the opinion that the public would seek to obtain services through technology. Typically, the process to obtain legal aid was lengthy, inconvenient, and stressful, and for this reason required a revamp that would allow technology to play a role in improving this process. Despite younger clientele having broader access to internet, a majority of those surveyed chose telephone services as their preferred method to obtain assistance. Unfortunately, there was little evidence to support telephone services being advantageous to clients. Research evidence suggests that there may be problems surrounding communication and comprehension for information provided via telephone. Additional research called to question the complexity of the problems being sought to solve during phone conversations versus face-to-face interaction. 42% of users thought their disability or illness would prevent them from executing the advice they were given over the phone. The authors hypothesized that telephone service is less efficient than other methods of delivery. For those who sought assistance, telephone advice and face-to-face was comparable when analyzing benefit across issue types. Ultimately, however, telephone advice performed better than face-to-face for many issue types, such as unlawful eviction and despair. The National Association of Social Workers Code of Ethics sets standards in which professional social workers commit to uphold. Both policies that we talked about today in spirit are meant to help those in need address social problems in the realm of legal services. Additionally, the policies are designed to give broader access to those in need through internet and phone, respectively. As described in the journal articles we reviewed today, the internet potentially misses the mark and results in a program that doesn't accommodate the clientele it intends to serve, primarily because the research shows that the readability of these websites does not align with the people using the service. The telephone legal services campaign, however, appeared to be beneficial. In conclusion, legal aid services should be offered to those in need in many formats, giving them several different options like the telephone and internet to obtain information they need. More importantly, however, the usability of this information that's provided, regardless of which format, again, telephone or internet, should be clear and actionable for those seeking advice.